Good evening, HDSB staff and students, parents tuning in. Welcome to Getting Ready for Experiential Learning virtual series. Today's topic is all you need to know about community involvement. I am Wonuola Yomiodede, the acting experiential learning lead K to 12 at Halton District School Board. We are all very happy to see you today to learn more about what cooperative education and experiential learning are at the Halton District School Board. It is all about the many ways in which it can make your pathway planning come alive and exciting, regardless of which post-secondary pathway you choose. I'm going to do the land acknowledgements. I, Wonola Yomiodede, on behalf of everyone present and also on behalf of Halton District School Board, I honor the land and territory. Halton, as we know it today, is rich in history and modern traditions of many First Nations and the Métis, from the Anishinaabe to the Atawandaron, the Odinusoni, and the Métis. These lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in indigenous history. As we gather today on these treaty lands, we have the responsibility to honor and respect the four directions: land, waters, plants, animals, ancestors that walked before us, and all the wonderful elements of creation that exist. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation for sharing their traditional territory with us. An important task we can focus on as we work towards a more equitable and inclusive school, community, country, and world is to keep our learning moving forward. It is important to acknowledge that many indigenous peoples lived on these lands in more recent history, but we acknowledge that this land is Mississauga of the Credit First Nation, traditional and treaty territories. The Halton District School Board is hosting the Directors Panel series on identity, inclusion, and human rights for student, staff, and community members to raise awareness on historical and contemporary challenges of identity, equity, inclusion, and human rights. The first session took place on Monday, February 7th at 6 p.m. with a focus on anti-Semitism. The next session will focus on two-spirit and transgender awareness on Tuesday, March 29th at 6 to 7:30 p.m. Upcoming topics include Indigenous perspectives on decolonizing education and land. That will be on Tuesday, April 26th at 6 to 7:30 p.m. The next one is Perspectives on Islam and Islamophobia, which will come up on Tuesday, May 31st at 6 to 7:30 p.m. So now we get to the topic of the day. What is experiential learning? The what? This series is called Getting Ready for Experiential Learning. And in answer to the question, what is experiential learning? Experiential learning can be defined as learning approach in which students actively engage in a developmental experience. We call the what, the reflection thoughtfully on why that experience was relevant to them and their understanding of concept, the so what, and apply their new understanding to relate to related challenges in the world around them, the now what. Community involvement, which is our topic today, leads to empowerment, it improves human rights, leads to inclusion and social justice. It also promotes self-determination through collective action because it encourages us to work together for the common good. Today is the last session of a 5-part virtual series for grades 7 to 12 HDSB students and their families to learn more about various ways to engage in exciting experiential learning opportunities in our local community while our students, wards, children are still in high school and beyond. And we hope to see you at our future events to learn more about topics of the week and hear from HTSB community experts sharing valuable information, advice, and answering your questions. So should you have any question during this presentation, please feel free to go to bit.ly EL series March 3rd, and it is on the information that was shared with you. So you can do this to ask questions that you would like our panelists to answer for you. Please submit these questions to the panelists. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome our three panelists who are going to give us valuable information on the various ways that we can become involved in gaining the necessary experiences that we need for our 40 hours community development opportunities, which is compulsory requirement for graduation and obtaining our Ontario Secondary School diploma. Completing our 40 hours community development task is one of the ways that we can become publicly useful by giving back to our community. And I am pleased to introduce our speakers in the order that they are going to do their presentation, starting with Ms. Lisa Gallet, who is my immediate predecessor in this role, and she has moved on to become our instructional and program lead for school programs. I took over from Ms. Gallet in this role. Please join me in welcoming her. Our second speaker, Ms. Heather Elaine Johnson, is from Volunteer Halton, and she's going to tell us of the various ways that we can get our volunteer hours through her organization and other organizations. Please join me in welcoming her too. Our last speaker is Mr. Brent Kinnett of the famous Sound of Music Festival in Burlington. He is also going to share with us the various opportunities that are available in the organization that he works with. If you have questions at any point during the live stream session today that you would like the Pathway team to address, please feel free to go to bit.ly EL series March 3rd. Thank you very much. I hand over to Ms. Lisa Gallet. Thank you.
Great. Hi, everyone. Just getting myself all set up here with my slide. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you very much for the warm welcome, Manola. My name is Lisa Gallet, and I'm representing the Halton District School Board School Programs Department. And I'm very excited to share more about community involvement, which has been in effect as a graduation requirement for some time. But we always get lots of questions about it. So I thought I would start the session today by just sharing some information for grade 7 to 12 students and families so that you felt like you were in the know about what community involvement is all about. So as you heard Winola mention, it is a graduation requirement for all Ontario students. Typically 40 hours are to be completed at a minimum. I'm going to talk about something that's a little bit different with that this year for our graduating students in a few moments. Why community involvement? It encourages civic engagement in our students. It allows them to make a valuable contribution to their community in a wide variety of ways. You're going to hear a lot more about that today. It also helps develop those important transferable skills like communication and interpersonal skills that serve students well, not only in school, but also in the workplace and beyond. It allows them to explore interests and certainly also helps them to make connections to post-secondary pathways and career opportunities that they might not have otherwise known about. So lots of value there. As a Halton District School Board student or family, you can find more information about community involvement hours on our website, www.hdsb.ca. Everything from information, some of which I'm sharing today, eligibility requirements, and some of the forms that I'll be referencing as well when students submit their hours. This is important for our students to be aware of. For those students that might be watching today or their families, there are some modifications to the 21-22 requirements for community involvement hours. For students graduating in the current year 21-22, it has been adjusted from 40 to 20 hours. And the reason for that is as we continue in these slightly or maybe very unusual times of COVID, there's a recognition that it has been more challenging for a variety of reasons for students to complete these requirements in the ways that they might have in the past. And so to give a little bit of allowance to that, for graduating students, that requirement has been reduced to a minimum of 20 hours. I just wanted to make sure that all of our viewers were aware of that. In addition to that, with principal approval, up to 10 hours of paid employment if a student is 14 or older and completes a reflection exercise to go along with that paid employment, talking about how their work contributed to their community, can now also be used toward their hours. And that's new. That was not the case pre-COVID. But again, another example of how we're recognizing the variety of ways in which students are giving to their community during this time of the pandemic. As well, community involvement during school time. So cases where a student might be helping a younger sibling or a younger child, technically during school hours, is now allowed, whereas before it was not. And the last category, again, that's different for this school year is that duties normally performed at home. So for example, helping with household maintenance, perhaps assisting an elderly relative, those duties can now also count toward the required hours. So that's important for students to be aware of. We are awaiting some approvals about what the requirements will be next year. We are anticipating, though, it will go back to those pre-COVID requirements. So just wanted our viewers to know that. Ultimately, we know community involvement allows students to make a difference, and it really is designed to benefit the community. And we always encourage students to keep that in mind when they're thinking about what qualifies for community involvement. I'm not going to go over this in great detail, but I just wanted to make you aware, and again, this is on the HDSB website, that there are a variety of activities that are always eligible. And that's those where the focus is on benefiting the community. A variety of settings can be applicable to this: fundraising, tutoring, mentoring, coaching, health and well-being initiatives, opportunities to promote environmental and global awareness, volunteering with a community club, or some sort of an association that makes a positive contribution to the community. Again, these are really just a few examples. There's a more extensive list provided on our website. But again, when there is a benefit to the community, generally that is going to be a yes as we think about which activities are eligible. Now, what makes an activity ineligible? Well, in all honesty, some of the activities that used to be ineligible for the 21-22 school year, as I've mentioned, now are eligible temporarily, again, as we recognize these different times that we're in. So I put this one in blue. Those duties normally performed by a paid employee before were not eligible. Now we know up to 10 hours with the reflection submitted can make them eligible. Those activities that typically provide a direct financial benefit or gain to the student or the student's family generally are ineligible. Those that occur during the school day or as a class requirement, again, we know that there's a little bit of flexibility now this year, but generally ineligible. So for example, a student, let's say, as we look at the next example too, doing a co-op placement, couldn't say, well, I'm volunteering with a charity or I'm doing work with a charity for my co-op placement. I'm also going to use that toward my community involvement. We can't do that double dipping. Just participating on a sports team in a club or a personal recreation activity. I play on the neighborhood soccer team. That can't count toward community involvement. Regular family responsibilities, again, used to not be allowed. So babysitting a younger sibling, helping to shovel snow on your own driveway, we used to not be permitted. Now, again, we have more flexibility for this school year. In the case where a student perhaps has gotten involved with the law and there is court-ordered community service, that is not the same as the 40 hours or 20 hours for graduating students in this year. Something that doesn't comply with the age restrictions of the workplace. So someone can't volunteer somewhere when you have to be a certain age to work there and then say, well, that just counts as community involvement. I just did it for free. And again, activities where we've got concerns around safety, using power tools, operating a vehicle, administering medication. Again, these are some really specific examples that are not eligible. So again, where can I find out about community involvement opportunities? Probably the biggest question I got asked around this when I was a guidance counselor. Most secondary schools have a bulletin board with these opportunities displayed. They're available in the guidance office. They're put on the announcements. And again, you'll also find some pre-approved activities listed on the public website for you to check out. Again, how do you provide these opportunities? How do you get credit for doing them? Well, we do have a standard form that is provided, and it includes both a notification of planned activities or a pre-approval, as well as a place to verify completion of the activity. So that's a standard form available in every high school guidance office and also available on our website. So what are those steps really to completing the community involvement hours? Well, first, a student is going to select an activity that they're interested in doing. They're going to confirm their eligibility by filling in the first portion of that form. They can also go and have a conversation with their guidance office to be sure that they're eligible. They would complete the activity. Then they would complete the record of community involvement hours, including a signature from the person that supervised them doing the activity. They would submit that completed form to their guidance office. And then we always encourage them to reflect or add to their resume in My Blueprint to document that experience. Great question we always get asked. Students who are going into grade 9 but are in their grade 8 year, when can I start my community involvement hours? You can start it the summer going into grade 9. So once your grade 8 year is completed, as soon as we hit sort of July 1st, you are eligible to do activities that summer going into grade 9 that will count toward your graduation requirement. And again, where can you find more information? I've mentioned it a few times, the hdsb.ca website, the secondary school guidance office. You're about to hear from Volunteer Halton, where you're going to learn a lot more about all of this, as well as Volunteer Ontario. So lots of places to source out information about these opportunities. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Heather from Volunteer Halton.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Lisa, for that great introduction. And I am really delighted to be here. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. I just realized my microphone didn't come off. Thank you so much, Lisa, for that great introduction. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to today's event. What is happening? Sorry, my microphone keeps telling me it's going off.
Just so you know, Heather, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm getting a notification that my microphone's going off. So technology.
Okay, now it has gone off now.
All right.
Do you want to use the microphone on the computer?
I can. Just one second.
Yeah.
Is that better?
That's great.
Okay.
Much better. Thanks.
All righty. Sorry about that, everyone. All right. For some reason, every time I go to advance my slides, it's not letting me do it. I am presenting. Okay. Here we go. So I'm really excited to be here today to share information on how volunteering is a way to engage in experiential learning. I've put together a quick agenda of what I'm going to share, an introduction to Community Development Halton and Volunteer Halton, a bit about me, the value of volunteering, and how volunteering can help develop leadership skills. And finally, an overview of using Volunteer Halton's Volunteer Now database. So, sorry about that. So by the end of my presentation, you'll have a deeper understanding of the value of volunteering, be able to make the connection between volunteering and leadership skills, and have a few tools to get you started as a volunteer and as a leader. So let me begin by introducing Volunteer Halton and Community Development Halton, or also known as CDH. So CDH is comprised of 3 major programs: social planning and research, age-friendly initiatives, and Volunteer Halton. Working together, CDH strives to improve the quality of life for all residents in Halton region. So social planning and research is all about data. It's looking at social trends, needs, and issues to support positive change in partnership with community organizations and individuals. Age-friendly initiatives employ the World Health Organization's Age-Friendly Cities and Communities platform to encourage and promote active aging. We know that when we build systems with older adults in mind, people of all ages benefit. And Volunteer Halton. We are the volunteer center here in Halton region. And we envision a region where volunteerism is accessible, inclusive, and valued, contributing to a community to community well-being and engagement. So Volunteer Halton's here to provide support for volunteer seekers like yourself and organizations who engage volunteers through education, networking, advocacy, and referrals. So who am I? So my name's Heather Johnson. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the director of Volunteer Halton. I also describe myself as an accidental volunteer leader because I never intended to get into volunteer engagement as a profession. Coming out of high school, I was going to be a genetic biologist. And out of high school, I was accepted to a couple of universities, but family circumstances made it that I had to defer my acceptance. I went and worked for the local gas utility, and it was during those years that I had some great opportunities to get involved in community activities. This helped develop my organizational, my time management, and my leadership skills. A career change found me working in the not-for-profit sector as a volunteer coordinator, a role that also required good communication, organizational, time management, and relationship building skills. So it's been my joy to create relationships with passionate people, passionate about tackling homelessness, raising awareness about mental health and addiction issues, supporting local artists and musicians, and everything in between. And along the way, I've continued to learn and to grow as a leader through a combination of formal and hands-on learning. So volunteering is a purposeful activity. It's something that you choose to do. And like anything you choose to do, the action of volunteering involves being interested in, curious about, or passionate about the cause you're engaging in, as well as a desire to put in the work to do something for someone or something else of your own free will. That's essentially what volunteering is. Volunteer Canada is the national repository for information for all things volunteer, and nearly all volunteer centers, including Volunteer Halton, are member organizations. Research conducted by Volunteer Canada and its partners confirm that volunteering builds confidence, competence, connections, and community. So on their website, you can find this value of volunteering wheel, where you can explore the different ways volunteering impacts day-to-day life, from improving employee engagement for businesses, to creating social inclusion in communities, to enhancing democracy in society. And we know that volunteering can have a direct impact on overall well-being. It can help foster a sense of belonging. It can assist with skills development, and it can help newcomers integrate. But there are other great benefits for volunteering that can be experienced at the individual level as well. It can help improve your physical, your mental, and your emotional health. This has been a really challenging time these past couple of years for all of us, being able to stay connected, being able to engage in activities with other people. So volunteering can be a way to do that, which we know will have an impact on our overall well-being. It can be a great way to build self-esteem and self-confidence. You know, maybe you want to try something new, you're not 100% sure, you've got some skills, but you're not sure how you want to share those. This can be a great way to get involved. You can share those skills, you can develop some new ones. And it's a great way to confirm what you might want to do for a career. I know some of you are preparing to leave high school, some of you are preparing to get involved, get started in high school. But, you know, volunteering can be a way to sort of road test things that you think you might want to do for your career. It's also a great way to learn what you don't want to do. And that's a learning as well. So according to Volunteer Canada's survey in 2013, Canadian youth volunteer more than any other age group. So 53% of Canadian youth between the ages of 15 and 24 have volunteered that was just the survey. So I know there's probably folks that are a little bit younger that have volunteered and folks that are older certainly have volunteered. If your parents or your guardians volunteer, it's more likely that you will too. So volunteering as kids and as teenagers can teach a range of values, including making and keeping commitments and developing a better understanding of people with different backgrounds, lived experiences, or economic situations than your own. It can also help you develop leadership skills. Developmentally, between the ages of 14 to 18, these are the years when teenagers develop those civic identities that can stay with you for life. Marilyn Price Mitchell is the author of a book called Tomorrow's Changemakers, Reclaiming the Power of Citizenship for a New Generation. And she's noted that most youth follow some pretty common steps along their journey to becoming engaged citizens, of which volunteering is a way to get there. And that can be connecting with others in need, confronting some moral issues. Volunteering is probably going to introduce you to people or situations that are different than your own, people who are in need, people who have few resources, situations that need change. And these situations through volunteering might start you thinking about different ways of doing things, get you questioning, and those are all awesome things. Volunteering can also help you sort of, with self-reflection. You'll be able to have some different experiences that's going to help inform you going forward. And it's a great way to help create a passionate civic identity where you've got some ideas, you've got some passions, you've got some things you really, really want to get involved in. Volunteering is also a great way to develop leadership skills. And it may not seem that way, but you're going to use it and you're going to gain a lot of great skills being a volunteer. But leaders are not the ones with the loudest voice or the most resources. Great leaders almost never set out to become leaders. They're most interested in making a difference and putting the project or the goal ahead of the role. So it's worth remembering that doing nothing for others is the undoing of ourselves. So you can develop great communications, planning, confidence, and mentoring skills through volunteering. It's also a way to develop personal networks. You never know who you're going to be volunteering next to. It could be the person that you end up going to university with. It could be your future boss. It could be a person who ends up becoming your best friend. Volunteering gives you a space to try new things. This is your chance to take some risks and to handle different situations differently. It's also a chance to learn. Every chance to volunteer is an opportunity to learn. No matter how much you think you know, you end up realizing that there are many things that you don't know. Volunteering is a great way to learn, to grow, and to experience, and to explore. What I'd like to do now, Lisa referenced this, there are some various ways to look for volunteer opportunities. You might be thinking, okay, how do I get started? And I want to walk you through Volunteer Halton's Volunteer Now platform. And this can be found on our website. And I'm going to take you through some screenshots of what this looks like. And I can also send this information along to be shared with those that are attending today. If you go onto our website, which is www.cdhalton.ca, and you'll see that I've circled it on this slide. There's a tab there that says Volunteer Now. And when you click on that, you're going to be taken to this page. And on this page is where you'll get a little bit more of a description about volunteering. And this provides some different words that you might see. Not everything that's volunteering is called volunteering. It might be known as community services, community involvement. If you were in a professional setting, it could be known as doing something pro bono or without pay. It could be termed, as a being called neighborly, could be called activism. So that just gives you a little bit more of the terminologies that you might see. But there's that button there, that yellow button that says, yes, I'd like to volunteer. And if you click on that, you're going to get taken to our search page. And this is an opportunity to look for volunteer opportunities all around Halton region. And you'll see that we have a filter, which is specific for youth volunteering opportunities. So we've gone ahead and sort of curated all the opportunities that organizations have said are suitable for folks that are 14 years of age and up. If you're under the age of 14 right now, you would probably want to look under family opportunities and to see what's available. But youth opportunities, if you click on that, you have an opportunity to provide some general information. So this is our student search page. You can select your age. You can select your community. You'll notice that while in addition to supporting all of Halton region, we also provide supports in the city of Hamilton. So you would click off on the areas that you are interested in, where you're interested in serving. You'll also notice that there's that button there that says Ontario Secondary School Diploma Component. And these are roles that have been identified by the person, the organization who's submitting them, that qualify for those high school community service hours. You can filter by that. You can leave it blank. All the opportunities, I would say 95% of the opportunities that are listed for youth on our site are already in that pre-approval category that was mentioned earlier. So you fill this out, and when you click next, you're taken to a page where you can sort of start to filter in what it is that you're really interested in. These are some of your general areas of interest. Are you interested in working with kids? Are you interested in doing something outdoors with sports? Are you interested in providing fundraising? So you can start to sort of hone this in. If you choose nothing, that's okay, because all the interests then will be available to you. But if you have an idea going into this, you can filter out some of those opportunities. When you click next there, you get to be a little bit more specific. And again, this is optional to fill out. If you don't click anything off, all the areas of interest again will be searched. But again, you can filter down a little bit, so you can be a little bit more specific if you're looking for opportunities that are mentoring opportunities, leadership opportunities, community outreach. You want to get involved in gardening or yard work type of opportunities. You can be that specific. But like I said, if you choose not to pick a specific area, all the areas will be searched. So once you go through that and you click next, you'll get a list of the opportunities that meet your criteria. And it's a little bit like a Google search. It comes up and you'll get a title and a little bit of a description. As you can see here, we searched for a role for someone who was 17 in the communities of Burlington, Georgetown, Milton, or Oakville. And the day that I did this search, 20 opportunities popped up. And so you might scroll through them and think, yeah, you know what, I'm kind of interested. So the example I've used here is the Burlington Lights Festival over the winter holidays had an opportunity for Twinkle Patrol for their Lights Festival. So if you were interested in learning more about that, you'd click on the title and you'd be taken to a page where you get more information. You'd know who to contact. What are the duties? Who is this suitable for? What are the areas of interest? What's the time commitment? All that information will be there. So there's a little bit more on this screen if you scroll down, but you get the idea. You're going to get all the information you'll need to make a decision if this is something that you'd like to perhaps volunteer with. Now, there's another yellow button on that page that says, yes, I'd like to volunteer. And what this does, if you click on that, you made the decision, yeah, I want to get involved with this. If you click on that, yes, I'd like to volunteer button, you're taken to a page where you can submit what we call an expression of interest. This is not an application. You're not applying for the role to say, and somebody's going to call you and tell you when to come out and volunteer. What this is, you're going to give your name, your email, or your phone number. We need at least one of those. And just a word of caution, some of our member organizations have noted that if students are using their school emails, sometimes the reply email is getting lost in spam or junk. And I think that's due to the filters of the school board. So just a word of caution, if you're using your school email and you are not sure why you've not received a reply, check your junk or your spam folders. Or if you have a personal email or your family has an email that you can use, you might want to use that instead, just so that you don't get the filters don't interfere with that. But we need your name, your email, and your phone number at least. You'll see that you can put your address in if you want. That's optional. You'll also see that there's a notes section there. And this is where you can put in maybe a little bit about yourself or some questions that you have about the role. You might want to tell the organization that maybe you've had some experience doing something similar, or you've got some questions that weren't answered in the posting. There's a bit of a security check question. It asks you to put in tomorrow's date, and then you hit submit. And what happens is this information is sent via email to the person who submitted the role. And they get an email that says, I'm interested in learning more, and they can reach out to you. You will also get an email that tells you who the organization that you've submitted to, who that contact person is, and how you can connect with them so that you can follow up if you don't hear from them in, I would say within 1 week is probably pretty reasonable. I'm also here to support if you're not able to connect with organizations. I can say that all of the roles that are on our website are active. We are very good at making sure that they're kept up to date, and all the roles that are on there, organizations are actively recruiting. I also want to share another opportunity. Some of you may be aware of this. This is an opportunity through Community Development Halton called Connections Among Generations. This is a 1-year outreach program that's directed towards older adults who live in Halton region. We have a partnership with the Food for Life Good Food Bag program, and we are encouraging students to contribute what we call messages of hope and encouragement that are distributed. And we distribute over 800 of these good food bags per month. So you can get involved. You could write letters or poetry. We've had some students that have made cards. Over this past winter break, we had a high school student who made over 70 friendship bracelets. In the summertime, we had another high school student who he and his grandfather made coasters. So sky's kind of the limit, but these would be then distributed to older adults living in our community through this program. Right now, this is the contribution that you can receive, the hours that you could receive. On average, for every one item that you create, so if let's say you're making cards, for every one card you create, assuming that you've put some effort into it, you could earn up to 1 hour towards your required community service hours. So the information is on our website. If you click on the age-friendly tab on our website, you'll get more information. You could also email seniors@cdhalton.ca, or you could also reach out to me at hejohnson@cdhalton.ca for more information on that program and others. So again, thank you so much for inviting me today. I look forward to helping you find volunteer opportunities. And now I'm going to turn it over to Brent, who's going to talk to you about Sound of Music Festival.
Fantastic. Thank you, Heather. Thank you to the Halton School Board, Lisa and Wanla, for inviting me tonight. I am going to also make sure that we can make our technology happen here. I've just got a short slide deck that is coming up. There we go. Can we see this okay? Perfect. So thank you, everyone. Pleasure to join. My name is Brent. I'm the Director of Operations for the Burlington Sound of Music Festival, a music festival that has been in the community here in Burlington for 43 years. We sadly have been absent from Spencer Smith Park for the last 2 years due to the ongoing challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we are very excited to say that we are back in June of 2022, returning to the waterfront in Burlington and taking over Spencer Smith Park for 9 wonderful days of music. And I am sorry, but I am also having trouble advancing my slide deck.
Not the slides aren't advancing for you, Brent?
They are not. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. I'm wondering if we can pull that up. Just give us 1 second.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, Brent, I'm just going to present that for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Oh, do you have it up already?
Oh, sorry
Winona?
about the tech. Yes.
Okay,
I
you'll
do.
advance the slides. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about the technical difficulties, everybody. Okay, so are we
Perfect.
good now, Brent?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. That's wonderful. So Sound of Music, 43 years in the community, live music, celebrating arts and culture. We are all about bringing the community together to have a wonderful experience. I am incredibly fortunate that I get to call this my job every day. There's some posters on the wall behind me here that are signed by various musicians. I've had the incredible opportunity to meet rock stars and have a whole bunch of fun at live music. It's a ton of work, but it's also a lot of fun. And I think, the big question here, is it for me? Sorry, if we could just go back just one slide there. Perfect. Thank you. Obviously, we're here talking about the hours of volunteer service that is required for your graduation diploma. And so certainly this is something that we can provide. But at the same time, we can offer a whole lot more. And some of the things are here: meeting new friends and creating relationships, learning about large events, talking to some professionals in the event industry and learning about possible careers in the music industry and in the event industry. A really cool volunteer shirt that you can remember your experience by. And for me, probably most important, being a part of our team and our family here at Sound of Music and having a great time, having some fun. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we have a hub that is our volunteer center set up at the park, very efficiently organized for you to come in and sign in and out of your shifts, receive a report so that you have a record of those shifts to be able to count towards your volunteer hours. We have radios and golf carts and other gear and equipment that are assigned to various volunteers to help them carry out their task. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that everyone has a safe place. They're well fed. There are water and snacks, and it's a place to come together and enjoy your experience with us throughout the festival. Next slide, please. Thank you. It's a lot of work, as I mentioned. These are 40-pound bags of ice that we're carrying at an event this past summer. So there's some heavy lifting. There's a lot of work. There are some long hours. But we are a team. And just as I say here, it's teamwork. We work together and we do it with a smile on our face. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I joined the Sound of Music Festival in early 2019. So I've been with the organization at a staff level for about 3 years now. And when I joined, part of my role is the management of our volunteers. And I brought in a system that I call my 3 T's. And those are tools, trust, and thanks. And at the end of the day, everything that we do from a volunteer management and a volunteer experience perspective comes back to support these 3 T's. Tools, we make sure that you have the resources that you need to be successful in volunteering with us and to do it safely. Trust, we ask you to be an ambassador and a representative of the festival and of our brand while we're carrying on our events. And most importantly is thanks. We want to make sure that everyone is rewarded for the work that they do and what they contribute to us as an organization. So those 3 T's you will see if you come to volunteer with us at Sound of Music are filtered through all of our activities and everything that we do. Next slide, please. Thank you. So while I can't tell you who this says, I can promise some incredible live performances. A great backdrop with food trucks, midway rides, family activities, and a really, really fun interactive environment. Some of the artists that are performing at the festival have been announced now and are on our website and our social media, and there's more coming, and we're really proud and excited of the lineup that we have this year for Sound and Music coming back in June of 2022. Next slide, please. So a question to all of you, do you have a passion for the environment? We have an eco team that creates a diversion rate with our waste that is second to none in the event industry. So if you have a passion around the environment and greening of events, perhaps you could come and volunteer and help us there. If you love interacting with people, we have a special VIP area where we have food and beverage service and a great experience to interact with our guests. If you are particularly handy with tools or you know your way around working with equipment, we have a great need for logistics. We build essentially a miniature city in the park for a week and a half. And so your skills can be put to use there. This and a myriad of other opportunities are available, and we can really cater specifically to you for your goals and the experience that you are seeking in volunteering with us during the festival. Next slide, please. So my contact information is here. And first and foremost, I would ask everyone to visit our website at soundofmusic.ca. Just all one word, soundofmusic.ca. And there's a little tab up in the top called Volunteers. You can register with us as a volunteer, and then you'll start to receive communications and more information about how to join a particular team, how to volunteer in a particular area, and just a little bit more about coming and working with us. So live music is back. Events are back. There isn't a single person that I talk to through the course of my day that is craving the return of Sound and Music and craving live music and concerts again. And we are so excited to bring it back to the community. And I really, really would love for students in the Halton School Board to come and get your volunteer hours with us and join us and have a whole bunch of fun. So thank you for the opportunity to be highlighted as a signature event in Halton and in Burlington. And I really look forward to hearing more from the students. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brent. So it's time to ask your question. Remember, go to bit.ly/EL series March 3rd. But we already have two questions in. And I'm going to direct this at Heather, that why is community development important?
So I think community development is important because it's an opportunity for people to come and work together. It's an expression of interest in our communities. It's an opportunity to share and to engage with other people. It's a great opportunity to learn what we're doing well, learn what we need to do differently, and then work together towards an impact.
Thank you. The next question is directed at Brent. That's how does your organization know in what area to assign a volunteer? How do they know what strengths that they have brought to your organization?
Yeah, excellent question. So there is an opportunity when you visit our volunteer portal through the volunteer page at soundandmusic.ca to create a profile. And you can actually, in creating your profile, click on some areas of interest and also note some particular skills that you have. In addition, if you wish to be involved to a greater degree with helping us with some planning on one of our teams throughout the year before the festival, then there's also an opportunity to reach out directly to me by email, which we can circle back and provide my email address to all. And I'm happy to have one-on-one conversations with anyone to help match up a skill set or a career path or a particular area of interest with some practical experience in the festival that we can help give you some skills.
Thank you. Another question just came in, and I'm going to direct that to Lisa. That how can I get help if I can't find anywhere to do my volunteer hours? What can I do? Who can I turn to?
Great question. So I would say if the student is a high school student, I would absolutely start at the guidance office. So your guidance counselors are there to support you with all aspects of your graduation, including this particular graduation requirement. And again, we as guidance counselors are constantly being provided with different opportunities that are happening in the community. It could be everything from supporting, a wonderful festival like the Sound of Music Festival, to supporting a sports team, helping out a charitable organization. There's, various employers and organizations and different opportunities that come across our path all the time. So I would start there. As I said, a lot of times there's either a electronic or actual real bulletin board where you can check out opportunities. And again, I've had many conversations with students where we've been able to find opportunities that match their interests and also help them explore some potential career opportunities that they want to delve into a little bit deeper. So that's a great place to start. If you're an elementary student, your student success teacher can certainly be of assistance. But I would also encourage you to make a phone call and ask to speak to a guidance counselor at the high school that you plan to go to. They can have a conversation with you to get the wheels turning about what might be possible for you for the summer going into grade 9. So I hope that's helpful.
Thank you very much, Lisa, Heather. And I need to apologize to our parents, our teachers, and our community members who tuned in for the technical challenges that we had. We sincerely apologize for that. And the technical challenges also contributed to our running beyond the time. Please, we do appreciate your time. You took the time and effort to watch this last series. So I'm just going to go to the thank yous. Thanks, Lisa, Heather, and Brent, for your presentations on the holistic approach to community development opportunities. We have learned a lot on why this is important to contribute and develop our communities throughout our lives, not just in high school. So we thank you. I would like to thank our parents, our teachers, our guidance counselors, and the students, the community members who have tuned in. Stay safe. Continue to focus on building a better HDSB, a better Halton, better Ontario, better Canada, and a better world, because we can do it all together. Community development is about being personally happy and also publicly useful. So let's move the narrative forward. Thank you, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you for our next presentation. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Brent. And our silent producer here, Mr. Raposo. Thank you, everybody. Please thank Mr. Raposo. He's been here for the past 4 series, and this is the 5th one. Thank you, Mr. Raposo, for your help and support.